Cast people.
Yeah.
The world of Twitch and Periscope. The finals are upon us. It's been 21 long days. 21 days, right? Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
21 long days.
Is it long? I feel like we got there in a moment's notice.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah, I think it's long. It doesn't feel like it's been long, but it is a long time. Welcome to the Awesemo morning show. It's April 6th, Monday. Living life in quarantine. Dave Loughran, Ben Rasa, Josh Engleman coming into the final game of the NBA2k Bracket Series. We're giving away, that's right, $10,000 to first place. $10,000 to first place, fellas. Ain't that something special, Ben?
Yeah, that's something I never thought that anyone would say. $10,000 on a 2K simulation bracket for free. We've got a great final tonight. We've got the Heat. We've got the Warriors. We have 3 perfect brackets intact. We're going to talk about them a little. We're also going to look forward to tomorrow, which tips off another NBA 2K tournament, which is the playoffs from this year. Looking forward to that. We're going to jump into some other things today, but excited to start off a new week with a championship game.
Yeah, stick around later in the show. Ben and I are going to give you our League of Legends experience.
That's right.
I had Alex Baker, you know him as Awesemo, on Awesemo Radio on Sirius yesterday, and it was awesome. Like learning about how he adjusted and adapted from Black Friday with the online poker industry going down to dominating DFS, because he was playing poker professionally, to dominating DFS and now dominating League of Legends. Josh, it's a very impressive series of events, and he gave all the information you need trying to learn something like that. And I don't think there's anyone you'd rather learn from than someone that just says, all right, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm going to do this and be the best at it.
Yeah, and anytime that he has that sort of thought process, I fully expect him to be right. Like, that's just...
Exactly.
It's worked so well in the past. Why would I doubt him? So, yeah, if he's ready to tackle League of Legends, I fully expect Alex to be fantastic at League of Legends and Rocket League and whatever other sports that come up that are
Counter-Strike.
Digital. He's going to be the best at that as well.
We've got the free content on the site as well. Like, you want to check out League of Legends, the projections are premium, and the ownership, the top stacks, all of that stuff, obviously premium. But the strategy guides, the primer, the leagues explained, the fundamentals, all that stuff is free. And we have a bunch of free stuff for League of Legends. It's funny too, because Ben, I was reading the leagues explained article, and the North American team is apparently just like the worst of all of the others, like not even close to competitive. But I'm not surprised by that. In this respect, in the esports world, that doesn't surprise me.
No, me neither. From my extremely limited knowledge, we're going to talk about that though. I did play. I skimmed the primer, which is free, and then got into our premium stuff, put some things together. And listen, I know a lot of people have had a lot of success with it. Something we're gonna have to monitor. The prize pools have been big, so it's certainly worth checking out. Even just get to that primer first, and then work your way from there.
That's kind of the thing. The contests are huge right now.
Yeah,
like,
they're gigantic.
They're giving away a ton of money. And Alex had mentioned that he actually prepared for this a lot. Like when League of Legends when esports first came on to these DFS sites, but the prize pools weren't big enough. So I guess there was already some infrastructure in place to be able to just dominate early on. And I mean, there's no better spot to be in than prepared when all of this goes down, because I had no idea. I'm still very much in the dark when it comes to learning League of Legends. A lot of the names to me are, no, not a lot of the names. Every single one of the names is foreign.
I was like, which one do you recognize in this scenario?
Right.
No.
And I don't mean foreign. I don't mean foreign from another country. I mean, foreign as in I'm unfamiliar with all of it.
Yeah.
But You learn it. I'll tell you, I learned the XFL pretty quick. Like that was one where I had a solid amount of success with the XFL, and unfortunately it was disappeared along with the other sports. But like right now with League of Legends, it goes throughout the night. I believe it's the Chinese league, and I watched some of it yesterday, Ben, or I'm sorry, yesterday morning because I couldn't stay up till 2 a.m. It's pretty intense how this type of stuff is. I don't want to say produced, but how they do this. There were like 100,000 people watching at once.
It's massive. And just speaking, personally on it, the one thing I like about League of Legends, I think this is applicable to a lot of people, is for me, there's no bias whatsoever. So when we get XFL, I've seen these guys in college. When we have other sports, I've seen them play hundreds of times. Even though I try to stick to the numbers, stick to projections, I have my own thoughts on how good this guy is, where he should be priced. When I look at League of Legends, I don't know anything about anything. So I'm really going to the fundamentals of DFS, the fundamentals of Alex's projections and what we have in the package. So it actually kind of helps you hone your DFS skills because you have no biases. I don't know anything where I can say this doesn't make sense. And it really helps you fine tune what is a very successful process long term.
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony Marcus says XFL shouldn't be hard if you play NFL or college football. So it's actually considerably different because you still have to learn. First of all, you have to learn all of the players
and the rules
and understand how good the teams are. Because the difference was, well, outside of the rules, the difference was not only were you jumping into a sport that you're unfamiliar with, it's a sport that nobody knows which teams are good or not.
Yeah. Yeah, like if softball was suddenly a DFS sport, it would have like different but it would have different stacking strategies than baseball.
Sure.
Does.
Oh yeah.
Every little individual piece of that changes. I mean, you understand like, oh, when the ball goes over the fence, that's a home run. Like we can understand, what scoring plays are called, but analog sports are still wildly different from a DFS perspective.
For sure. Yeah, and in softball, at least you're like, okay, this team was really good last season. This team was really good. With the XFL, you have no idea who's going to be good. Yeah. So, they're all different. But my point is that if you take a little bit of time to learn these, generally speaking, you can have success. And that's what we've seen with League of Legends. Poker as well. Josh, I know you jumped back into the poker world, took second or third in a tournament the other day.
Yeah, you are greatly overselling that. I played one individual sit and go against 5 other people. So yes, taking second worked. It paid.
Runner up.
I thought you were in a tournament, like a legit like
MTT.
No. So yes, I took second.
Should have just ran with it.
I took second in a sit and go AMA. Whatever you guys want to know, I'll fill you in. I'm like
so Josh,
Doyle Brunson.
So Josh, how did you adapt when DFS went down?
I became a poker pro, evidently.
Your ability to adjust is unparalleled.
Yeah. I made a quick pivot. I'm just taking down contests left and right,
Ben, you've been playing though routinely, like every day.
Yeah, I've been playing a good amount. And actually, chat right there. Shout out to 6 Max Hypers. That's probably my best game. I grind those. I used to grind those basically full time. I've been playing a good amount. 1-2 table standard sit and goes. It's been good. Like everything, you have to knock off the rust. There's a lot to learn, but a lot of the skills from DFS and poker are, in the Venn diagram in the middle. So you can lean on that. And with so many new people flooding back to poker, I do think it's pretty soft right now. So it's been exciting. We have some things that we've discussed. Maybe we're going to bring in some, if people are new to poker and want to get some information, we have some people here on the site that can provide that. So we're excited to do that as well.
Absolutely. One more thing. Anthony Marcus, I got a bone to pick with you, bro. Says Houston was projected to win the championship and they were undefeated. 3 laughing faces. Apparently it wasn't that hard to figure out who would be good, and they throw it to the same guys in the XFL. I bet on probably every single game through every week. I cannot tell you how many home dogs or dogs in general won outright. So yeah, you're taking one team in Houston. They were really good, but in terms of teams covering or winning out, Ben, I talk to you about this like every weekend. Like, all right, New York Guardians plus 350 at home, boom, get the win, and winning out. It's a different sport, man, for sure. But anyway, back to talking poker. What have you? If you're, by the way, it's really funny how much terminology DFS gets from the poker world. Like most of it,
yeah,
right? Like as far as cash games go and tournaments, I remember when DraftKings first started in like 2012, they called certain contests sit and goes.
Yeah.
And
Smart.
Yeah, sit and goes. There was, cash games. There was, do you remember the steps contests on DraftKings?
Yeah. I remember when I used to think that they were like things I wanted to enter.
Oh, they were horrible. There were Matrix contests. I don't know if you guys remember the Matrix.
Matrix contests are awesome. They used to have them in poker too.
Right.
It's when you played everybody, right? Am I thinking of it correctly? Like it was like 21 people and you basically played like 20 head-to-heads?
Well, no. Oh, I thought it was basically like everybody wins except like you're scaled down in prizes. So if there's 20 people and the buy-in's $5, like 20th place would win like 12 cents or something.
Sure.
And then
it's the same concept.
Yeah,
right.
Well, in DFS, It's basically like you're playing individual head-to-heads and ranking you. It's also just like descending order of points.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So they did. There's so much that they took from the DFS world, or I'm sorry, from the poker world, and you look at it now, and now we're back to poker, and it's a strange world because so many people have jumped back into that world. Is it easy to transition back into poker after not having played for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't call it easy, but like anything, maybe where you're going to need to shore up, you knock off the rust, you see, you're going to be, I think it's okay to make mistakes too. Like I went in saying, you know what, I can play my way through this. I'm not going to be as sharp as I would be if I had been playing. I will learn on the fly. I know where I need to, my ranges are probably sloppy. My sizing's probably sloppy. I'll deal with it. And I have, and even in a couple weeks, I have become that much, more sharp and feel like I'm in a pretty good groove now.
What are you doing to hone in your skills? Are there any things you do to make yourself better each day? I mean, I could ask Josh too, because he just took down a considerably large prize pool. His
strategy is, you get that bottle of wine and you start playing, you see where it takes you. It's like DFS, Laffy. I think, don't just, if you win or lose a sit and go, don't exit out and go to the next one without thinking. What happened? Why? Were there some things that you would do differently? Why? And then just simple, if you're looking at charts, just again, trying to understand structure, what type of format, if you're playing a hyper turbo, you're going to be doing things a lot different than if you're playing a tournament where you have a ton of chips and the blinds are really small. So just like in DFS, some people play in like a winner take all and they build the cash lineup. That's not going to work. That's a terrible idea. You want to be really aggressive. So you just want to match format and style to structure.
Here's I think the most interesting question to be answered with something like this for both of you guys. With DFS, we've seen how much the game has evolved over the past 6-7 years, right? Considerable evolution. And if you get caught behind and you don't try and keep up with the pack, stay ahead of the curve, you're in a lot of trouble. We've seen so many good DFS players at one time or another disappear off the face of the earth. Like how many could you name where they were like at the top? They were ranked number 1 or top 5 overall, and now they don't play anymore. And maybe they moved on to something that they thought was more profitable, or they just didn't evolve with the industry. How much does the poker world evolved over the past 6 or 7 years?
Massively. to me, just even seeing it now and even trying to dig in a little bit to like the back end of it, just going to like forums and stuff like I did, a decade ago.
Yeah.
The level of knowledge that is out there is...
I was on the forums too, and I was shocked.
It's a different level now. I thought I was smart then, and like now that's just everybody.
Right. Is that true though, Ben? Like the amount of information available now, similarly to DFS, it's just insatiable.
Yes, I mean, just like in DFS, what if we could take what we know now and go back to 2013, we would crush unmercifully. In any, things evolve, but I do want to point out the giant difference between poker and DFS is that there's an opportunity cost for what you play. In DFS, you can go into the lobby, and whatever you're not restricted, you can enter a lineup, and it takes 1 second. Like you can mass, enter. So there's you're not decentivized to play a $5 thing because you're not wasting any more energy. In poker, someone who's a top end player is not going to waste their time at 50 cents a dollar, no limit cash. They're not going to waste their time in a $20 sit and go. So if you were, of whatever skill set, you don't have to be dealing with the top end players. Whereas in DFS, that is something that is unavoidable. So keep that in mind. You don't have to be, I can't compete with these, top end German players who are taking over. But you don't have to. You're never going to see them at the table.
That's a good point. In DFS, sometimes that's harder to avoid.
It's impossible.
It's definitely harder to avoid. Now, to be fair, there is a big difference between saying, well, I can't avoid the top players in the $8 entry, $300,000, guaranteed tournament. Like that's different.
Yes.
Right. But I think in DFS, you can still find certain cash games. Like if you're posting $1 and $2 and $5 head-to-heads, generally speaking, you're not going to get sniped every day by top players, but the risk reward is different. There's less risk. There's far less reward that goes into something like that, Josh, when you're avoiding the best players.
Oh, no doubt about it. Ben makes a great point. Not that I hadn't thought about it, but that it is so true that you're not going to get 6, like in that illustrious tournament that I finished second in. The other 5 guys weren't, the top 5 guys of the Roto Grinders rankings. They're just going to be 5 schmoes at that level. And being able to dodge that and not have to worry about it in the opposite way is kind of massive. And in a way makes me want to just play right now and stop the show.
It's almost
great idea.
It's it's like an ELO ranking that's almost self-policed. Like, because again, you would never kind of waste your time if you're used to playing, 100, 200, no limit. You're never going to be playing in stakes that are minuscule. Right. So that is something where you have a chance. You're not going to get in and just get crushed. Now, the sites have done a good job, and we could debate this forever. Like in DraftKings, Luffy, you just mentioned this. If there are restrictions, like you can't play in $1 or $2 or $5 games in certain things, in certain aspects. So they do give people that are just coming in a chance. But with poker, it's almost self-policed just because of the nature of the game.
Where does it start to get real ugly in terms of competition? And by ugly, I mean, you got to be very, very good. And 2-part question, what makes those players so much better?
So I think it depends on a lot of things. We have a lot of people in chat saying, like, where can I play? I'm not going to throw out sites. Just check what state you're in, check the legality and what your options are. But depending on where you play, the liquidity of the site and how much action there is. Like if there's only one game running at a certain stake, naturally you're more likely to have top people because they have no choice. But if you have a site that has a good amount of action, you're going to be able to play, I think, within most people's means of really having a good chance at a solid return without facing people that are just far superior. And then for the second part of that, what makes them far superior to me, it's pretty simple. They don't make as many mistakes. I think it's all about minimizing your mistakes. They don't have those leaks. They don't go on tilt. they just know what they're doing and they wait for you to make those mistakes and they take advantage of them.
Okay. Can you profit playing cash games? Like, can you churn out a nice return?
So I think that's very possible. I am not a good cash game player. It was never a strength of mine. Could I do it at lower limits? Yeah, I think I could. But I know my game well enough to know that my hourly and my whatever is much better suited in sit and goes and MTTs if I had the time, which I don't. So I stick to that, just about knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, 20 Rick asked if you were a poker pro before. I think you mentioned this, just that like you played your income, your primary income was playing poker, but never considered yourself a professional poker player.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I was in college when Black Friday happened. So I thought it'd be around forever. I didn't plan to get a job after college. That's for sure. I was just going to play poker.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's game. Josh, yesterday, it was a super, super competitive spot going into, well, basically up until the fourth, and then everything unraveled. The Miami Heat just went off. Now, they're playing a second of a back-to-back tonight. The Warriors have had a day to rest. So just want to throw that out there, that there may be a significant advantage here. And you've got the 15-16 Warriors, the 12-13 Heat, a matchup that everyone is clamoring to watch. And right now, you've got 3 perfect brackets remaining, and 2 of them have the Heat. Only one of them has the Warriors. Meanwhile, in our internal league, if you win, you win the bracket. If you win the internal bracket.
Yeah.
You jump ahead of Jordan Klein and our guy, Jake Hari.
Yeah. Yeah, I need the Warriors tonight for internal, which feels pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Nobody I'm the only one at 19. So Warriors win is perfect. Jake is a spot behind Jordan Klein. So it's truly just myself and Jordan Klein at the top. I'm nervous. I don't know what to make of this game. It's loaded.
Break it down.
I mean, I would say that the Warriors have more high-end talent in the aggregate. The Heat having a 7-man range of players, I think, is pretty important. I think we're going to need to see a big game out of Kevin Durant. Not Kevin Durant. Sorry, I don't know why I said Kevin Durant there. I don't know where my head was going there. We're going to need to see a big game from Dwyane Wade again. I don't know where I was going with Kevin Durant in that spot.
And I shook my head in agreement, so that's even worse.
No, from Dwyane Wade again. I think for the Heat to be able to do this one, Wade needs to have another monster. Especially if LeBron shows up like he did yesterday. It's going to be problematic. It's not as like the Warriors aren't going to miss threes like the Spurs did. There's too many dudes that are lights out, bombs away for those threes. And if the Spurs can take that many threes against the Heat, what happens if the Warriors do it and shoot 50%? This one's just going to be over before it starts.
Dwyane Wade's game logs are insane because now if you go on FanDuel, they've got this contest up and they've already got the game logs updated from yesterday. Dwyane Wade against March 29th against Houston, 17-10 with 2 steals and a rebound. Against Chicago, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks. And yesterday, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 50 fantasy points, FanDuel points without any multiplier.
He's the player of the tournament for sure. Without question.
Ben, I think there's a point to be made here that if Wade does this again, alongside LeBron James, who was by the way, really quiet yesterday. He had 10 and 1. That was it. And can kind of supplement LeBron's production or vice versa. That to me is a more dangerous combination than what the Warriors have right now, based on what we've seen.
I agree with that. I don't think the Heat will be able to get away with what they did yesterday. Like, LeBron has to be better. I don't think they can. Maybe Wade can keep doing that. I wouldn't bank on that by any stretch. And the Warriors just do have an out that no other team really has. Like, if they get going, we've seen this in real life. If they get going from three, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what the other team does, but honestly, it doesn't really matter what the other team does. They just have an upside that can't be replicated. So for the Heat, they need to get it inside, get it to their best players, limit the threes, and I think they'll be just fine. They have the talent to compete with Golden State, but Golden State just has a gear, as we've seen. When they get going in that top end gear, they blow by everybody.
Yeah, and tonight in the Daily Challenge, we're doing $200 cash money to first place for the championship round. We're going to keep doing this throughout the next one that starts tomorrow, the 2019-2020 playoffs, taking teams as they're seeded and throwing them in to a single game elimination tournament against each other. But yeah, $200 first place prize today, 4 Awesemo Plus subscriptions. We want to do it. We want to do you guys well for the final game. And well, we're going to keep that going actually, but yeah, make sure to get into that $200 up top in cash. And hey, if you're watching the show and you haven't liked it yet, hit that thumbs up, help us out. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're new to the channel. First of all, welcome. Second of all, hit that subscribe and that notification bell so you know when all of our shows are going live, whether it's the NBA 2K streams, the morning show, whether it's League of Legends, Counter-Strike, and when sports returns. This is the preeminent place for all your DFS information and entertainment. There's nowhere else you'd rather be. I can assure you of that. So keeping it going here. Looking on to what we've got coming up tomorrow. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I want to do some predictions here for the 2019-2020 bracket. You've got all 1 through 8 seeds in the East. And then in the West, we've added several teams for the play-in games. Josh, I believe 6.
Yes, 6.
Right?
Suns, Spurs,
6. Kings,
Blazers, Grizzlies, Pelicans.
Okay. So 6 teams added as play-in teams. If you're taking, and let's think about how we've seen these games play out as far as the 2K simulations go. If you're taking a team to win it all, who's it going to be?
That is a really good question. I would say I would feel most comfortable taking the Bucks.
Okay. I don't think that's a bad answer at all. I will say this much, though. I can't wait to see what the Rockets do from deep.
That's my answer.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay, so Ben, the reason I say this is the Rockets could be eliminated in game 1, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
But because it's single game elimination, they could take it all the way to the finals and win it because, there's more variance, but it could work very much in their favor, as we've seen throughout the season, where they won like 18 of 20 games after Capella left, and they were running good teams off the court, and then they lost like 6 of 7 games to the Hornets and bad basketball teams. It's such a tough team to predict.
Absolutely. Like you just said, they play the Nuggets in the first round. They could get bounced immediately. But when I think about so I'm coming into this tournament saying, what did I learn? I had never seen or played a 2K game in my life. And now I have I think a decent idea of what skill set translates the best. When I just quickly think of the teams, to me, the Rockets kind of pop out. They have some of those attributes. They're high variance, single game type of tournament. They are someone I feel pretty interested in thinking about who can make a run.
Okay. 20 Rick says he's been simulating and the Rockets get killed on the boards. Totally believe that.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
And they're going to have a date with a pretty sizable front court in the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, that could be ugly for sure. Another one is this Clippers team. He said the Clippers are disgusting on defense in these 2K sims. That's a pretty horrifying. That's a really, really scary Clippers team. They are so good. If they ended up taking all of this, it wouldn't shock me at all. Kawhi Leonard's a 96, George is a 90, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Marcus Morris. you got 5 guys in the starting lineup with 80 plus ratings, which is pretty impressive. And you've got Lou Williams and Harold not in the starting lineup. But in the closing lineup, you have 5 guys, all of whom have 80 plus ratings. It's going to be interesting to see how the rotations work for a team like the Clippers, because we know how Doc Rivers does things, right? But are we going to see Kawhi and George and Harold and Williams and Morris close these games out in 2K? Because that's a big deal. If they don't, I'm not betting them.
I mean, I'm guessing their closing lineup is their starting lineup, and that they don't.
I would think so too.
Pivot from that.
That's what I mean. But that's huge if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, is depth really a plus?
I think so.
Exactly. Like if Landry Shamet is closing the game out and Zubats is closing it out, he's been fine, but over a much better Harrell, that's not good.
Or do the pieces fit together better? And you want Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to shoot more shots, and you want Zubac to just be a guy that hangs out in the paint and does the dirty work.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to find out. I don't think any of us have the answer right now.
I think the answer is I forget which one of you just mentioned it. I don't forget. I don't remember. The lack of depth could actually be a good thing.
Well,
and
not in this tournament, it doesn't matter. Lineup. Everyone will play in these games. Well, not everyone will play, but like there's no cutoff line of these guys don't get in the real game. Like no team is only going to use 6 guys no matter what. So depth is now a benefit again.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but I still think. So let me ask you, Josh. Do you think teams with a worse bench will bring guys back faster? Or you're saying every rotation on every team is going to be similar regardless of who those guys coming in are?
I think every rotation is going to be similar regardless of who the guys are. So like when the Clippers bring on Lou Williams, the Suns are bringing on Javon Carter. Or
I know what you're saying.
Gary Trent Jr. for the Blazers. It's not going to. I think all of those subs are still going to happen, and in that case, the teams with the actual depth are now going to become a benefit again.
I want to cut in on something, then we'll get back to this because I love talking about these 2019, 2020 teams. It's a lot of fun.
Same.
I miss it. Me too. Jamal Faruqi says, great production for these. Very impressive. Question for Josh. What are some things you've learned from a production behind the scenes perspective on running these? It's a great question because there's been so much that we've kind of had to duct tape together and learn on the fly. This was like a bootstrapped operation, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that like there was anything that I needed to learn to do this. Nothing's all that different. We are sort of running 2 streams at once so that the 3 of us or 4 of us, if there's somebody else on the stream, can see this before it gets back out to you guys. It's a lot more moving parts than just clicking start streaming and us doing a show like we normally did and me sharing an Excel sheet. So there's definitely a lot more going on and a lot more opportunities for things to go wrong, i.e. 2 days ago. But it's not all that different, at least for me. It's basically just I need to capture a screen with a video game on it instead of my personal Excel spreadsheet like it's been for 3 years now.
Yeah, but this was all rigged up. Like we didn't follow a blueprint.
No. Day one of like, oh no, there's no sports anymore. We did it. Ben and I did it on the back end in like a different way. Like, hey, can you see this? Like, are we in a similar spot? Like maybe this would work. And then we just shot it out of a cannon and had to test it really quickly to find out that it did. So yeah, I guess like learning, and I don't think about it now because we're 21 days in, but those first 2 days, it was a lot of trial and error and trying to figure out how to do this.
No question. Well, actually, there was a point where we weren't sure if we were going to get it to work in terms of syncing everything up together.
Yeah, like I forget about that now because we've done 21 straight.
It's crazy. Okay, here's a question. There's a couple here that we need to address. Is it default rosters or rosters as of today? This is something that and Andrew Boudreaux says we give you grief, but I can say I appreciate you, Josh.
I appreciate it. I give you guys grief as well. The feeling is mutual, both ways.
So, is it rosters of today or default? We mulled over this a lot, and tried to think of the best way to do it. And most people said they'd like to see the players that are on the actual team, not the guys that are healthy and on the actual, or that were healthy as the season came to a halt.
Yeah. So easiest way to describe this would be Clint Capella is not on the Rockets. Clint Capella is on the Hawks, which is useless for this. And the Nets have a healthy Kevin Durant. So if you know those two things, then you know.
And Irving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Durant.
Well, he was out for the season. He was out for the season.
Right. To me, Durant looks a little bit different because he didn't even play.
No,
we're bringing back a guy that had 0 games played.
Sure, but the question would be,
if Durant's playing, clearly Kyrie's playing.
Sure, but again, are the guys that wouldn't be playing now if the season was still going, playing in NBA 2K?
Yeah, everybody's available.
Right.
Yusuf Nurkic is available. Zach Collins is available. Everybody's here. Everybody's ready for it.
Do you think? Go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to say, so just to clarify, so updated rosters with healthy players.
Correct.
Okay.
One thing I'm fascinated by is, Steve Leibowitz, it does make a huge difference on the Nets. There's no question. And there's no doubt in my mind, yes, it does change everything, but it could be very fun because if you've got the Nets going up again, are the Nets or the Magic the 8th seed? Do you remember which one's the 8th?
Magic or the 8? We got the Nets. They're going up against the Raptors.
Yes.
And just to give people a little sneak, we only have them as a 1.5 point underdog on the road there.
We shouldn't have moved that line.
Crazy. What?
We shouldn't have moved that line.
Why?
Raptors
we should have the Nets favorite.
No.
We should have moved it?
No.
Or shouldn't have moved it?
I'm Team Raptors in that game.
Oh, okay. I moved it to 1.5. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, Karis LeVert, solid player. I think this is a pretty even matchup, like a really even matchup.
Raptors are too good. In Toronto. Defending champs, I might add. And you're just snuffing them out to some garbage Brooklyn squad with chemistry issues at the top. Kyrie thinking he's on a flat earth. Come on.
Nets win this game by 10.
Oh, craziness.
Nets win this game by 10.
Raptors aren't bowing out in round 1 to the Nets. Come on now.
All right, let's go. What's it going to be? Nets win this game easy. I'll even say the Nets. I'll give you this. Nets win by 5+.
That's what you're giving me? You're going to give me 5?
Huh?
You're going to give me 5?
That is how confident I am that the Nets win this game.
Whatever you want.
Oh man, it's going to be a bloodbath. This Nets team is really good.
Is it better than? I don't even think it's better than this Raptors team.
I do.
Ben, split the difference here. Where are you at, Nets Raptors?
I will split the difference because I'm clearly in the middle. I think this is a toss-up type game. I don't think the Nets crush them or are clearly better, but I mean, you're adding Durant and Kyrie is beyond a game changer. So this is like, Chad just mentioned this. They're not in the tournament, Golden State, because they were so bad. Like, think about them. That would change the whole dynamic of the West if they were in this, and they are not.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Nate Verico says, hope KD is better on the Nets than he was on OKC. He didn't do shit, Lofty. I know. I know. But I can't imagine that happens in back-to-back spots. I simply cannot imagine that happens.
Who's
All right.
What's a better combination in the backcourt? Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie, or Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet?
For this game, no doubt Irving and Dinwiddie, in my opinion.
Interesting.
In real life, that's a different question.
Like that's Irving 1, Lowry 2, VanVleet 3, Dinwiddie 4 would be the way that I would rank those 4 of those guys.
Same.
So it's tight.
Yeah, it's tough, but also like for this game, Dinwiddie's an 83, VanVleet's an 82. So Dinwiddie's better than him in this game, marginally better.
He's better than him in real life too.
Than VanVleet? Yeah.
To me, but I've been riding hard for Spencer Dinwiddie for a hot minute.
No, I'm on board with that. The Raptors don't have a guy rated above 89.
That makes sense.
That's the other thing to keep in mind. We were talking a little bit before the show about this. We're not going to see, these rosters of, well, they got 2 93s and an 85 and an 80. Like, those were historic teams. Say what you want about how they played. Like, when we see some of these teams, it's going to be like their best player is an 88 and that's it. And that's going to change it. I'm interested to see how that impacts scoring and just the overall game.
For sure. They want the mustache. They want the mustache.
Pass.
All right.
Pass.
I'll do it.
Get on ice.
We'll think of something though, for sure.
By the end of today's show, you guys.
By the end of today's show, I won't think of anything that quickly.
No, that's why you let chat do it. Chat was the one that gave us the one chip chat. They've had some very good ideas for this. So I'm open to any and all suggestions.
Chad, hit that like button for us. We really appreciate it. Helps us a ton. We want to keep bringing you daily challenges. That is the easiest way to help us do it.
For sure. So another matchup that stands out to me as one that could be very, very close is Sixers Celtics. I think the Sixers were arguably the most disappointing team in the league this year. Just a terrible, terrible performance on the road. I can't imagine home road splits are going to make a big difference here. But you look at them on paper, and I feel like Ben Simmons can take the poor man's LeBron approach and get to the rim and defensively play extremely well. Joel Embiid gets it done. Do they have enough outside shooting is the question to win this game. Is Tobias Harris, they have a few guys that can get it done, but I don't know if they have enough outside shooting. That's my issue. So that's an area that we're going to have to see. But I think this matchup between them, Josh, and the Boston Celtics is as close as it gets.
Man, it's going to be a hell of a game. This is going to be another time where the Celtics get a real rough draw in a contest we're running, because they could easily go home to the Sixers. Michael Payne says it. Sixers on the road, guaranteed loss.
Yeah, I mean, about that. I don't know.
Unfortunately,
I think it's going to be close. Ben, who do you take if it's a pick 'em?
Probably the Celtics. I don't know how these teams translate to 2K. I'm definitely boxed in and priced in. I had a lot of interest. I was about to pull the trigger on the Celtics to win the East in real life. I liked them in that spot. I thought that they were the team most likely to beat the Bucks when it came down to it. So I think there's some carryover on that philosophy.
John Riley said Sixers are awful in sim games. Interesting. Keekster says, who's shooting threes in Phillies? Yeah, in Philly. That's the biggest issue that I would have.
It's the biggest issue they had in real life.
For sure. Yeah.
This starts tomorrow, chat. Right after we're getting it started again with Josh. You want to go into how the West is going to work a little, just because the 8th spot was so dicey. We wanted to make some of these teams have a chance who may have not been in the playoffs.
Yeah. So for the East, there was a huge dividing line between the 8 seed and the 9 seed. So we seeded the East teams up straight up like they are right now. There was no reason to intervene. For the West, there's a lot of ambiguity at the bottom. 538 was projecting the Pelicans to be in, but the Grizzlies are actually like 2 or 3 games ahead as of right now. And every other team in that list was just separated by a game. So we took 6 teams from the West. We gave 2 buys, the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. We have and we're doing a 6-team play-in tournament for the 8 seed. So tomorrow we're doing a doubleheader, Suns at Spurs, Kings at Blazers. Each one of those winners will go on to face the Grizzlies and or the Pelicans, culminating in a final, and the winner of that play-in will ultimately get the Lakers in round 1 for the West, which is that's not going to be fun for anybody. Although, I think that the Blazers and the Pelicans, if either one of those teams make it through the play-in game, they are live to beat the Lakers.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it. 538. 538 had the Pelicans with like a 67% chance of making the playoffs, and they were still 4 games behind the Grizzlies. That's how significantly or better their remaining schedule was compared to the Grizzlies. Do you think Zion's going to be good in this game?
I mean, I think he's good in real life, and all I hear is you clowns being like, no, he's Julius Randle.
Well, to be
I'll
fair,
continue to be right on that.
Supersized Julius Randle.
I'll continue to be right about Zion.
All right, we'll see. Hey, Dante in Premium Slack chat had a really potentially very good question that could be very important. Says, are you guys running the Sims in exhibition or playoff mode? I know in years past the players wouldn't come out nearly as much in playoff mode versus a regular exhibition match. That could be very valuable information.
I don't even know what that means.
Can you run them in playoff mode?
I've never seen that setting in this game anywhere. I don't understand at all what that means.
So I'd probably say exhibition mode, but we'll look into that.
Because if that is the case, it would be very significant and very helpful. Because we want the starters, we want the best players on the floor as much as possible.
I don't know if that would be feasible playoff mode because of the way we're doing the West. But maybe we'll do the play-in games one way and then the actual bracket another way. I'm not the one to ask though.
Right, like you're saying, if we're doing playoff mode, do we have to have a prearranged set of teams
exactly.
And then let it run? If that's doable, let's do. If it's doable, we could do it. But I don't. Huh.
I mean, again, I can't even.
So Promo Gaming says setting up a bracket. Explain further, Promo.
In-game.
So we mean like actually putting the bracket into 2K, huh?
That wouldn't. I mean, that would be relatively easy after we do the play-in games for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, well, we're going to start tomorrow. Tips play-in games, so we don't have to worry about that right now. Great question, and something that we could look into.
So tournament mode, they're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I would say that we're more likely to just use individual exhibition games.
I don't know why. Because
when I accidentally press triangle and sim the entire bracket and can't go back, it's going to be really annoying.
All right. Well, don't hit triangle.
I don't know if that's legitimately the mechanism. I'm just saying, like, we're opening up things to go wrong for no reason.
I think any way we can make it so more players or the better players are on the floor more in 6-minute quarters is worth trying.
We can change the substitution patterns and just make it so no one ever comes off the floor. We can do that sort of stuff on the back end if we wanted to.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we can always test
Promo gaming. I would test it before anything. I never trust 2K to do the right thing. Yeah, that's how I feel.
I mean, it's not like our track record's flawless anyway, so what do we have to lose?
How is it not flawless?
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Day 2 or whatever, I put the teams on the wrong court before anything ever started. That's the only problem.
And we put the Knicks in the bracket.
I think playoff mode would be sweet. You wouldn't even have to set anything up after. You just hit a button and let it rock.
Maybe. You got a lot of confidence about a game mode you've never used before.
Yeah, well, I'm an optimist.
You are.
I'm not.
Eternal optimist. So
not me.
No, not me either.
Anyway, I'm going to look into it and see if it works or not. See if it's worthwhile. Because if you can set a bracket up, I'd be all about it. Oh, wow. Dow's up 1,100 points. Whew.
See, here we go.
Man, it's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
Ask
Something
me again
else.
when I'm 65.
Yeah, it's a big rally here. I mean, it's the worst quarter since a long time. Not good.
No,
Yeah,
no,
A
very
little bit of
bad.
a bounce back.
I chose not to look at any part of any sort of investments that I have. There's no point.
Agreed.
Yeah, not me. I got issues. There's markets unpredicted.org, which is always a fun one to look at. And you can look at the presidential election
We're not touching that.
odds. Why not? It's not why? I'm just asking you if you had to place a bet on who the presidential winner would be, who do you think it would be?
I have no idea. I do have bets in real life, but it's so, I mean, look at the black swan that just happened. I think at this point, if you could get, honestly, I really don't know. I don't think now is the time to bet it. So not something. Why you have a line on that if it's both minus 110 across?
If it's both okay, so and by the way, maybe we shouldn't talk about this because the thing is people get so heated. Even if I'm objectively looking at this like as a bettor, right? Seriously, just as a bettor, not as a I want this person or I want this person. People get heated anyway. So
100%.
Let's act it. We should be able to, let me say this though. We should be able to talk about this stuff.
Couldn't agree more, but you can't. That's it.
What a sad state of affairs that is.
It's the world we live in. What can you do? But it's going to poison chat and the show.
Yeah. And it's just talking about betting. Like it should be viewed as the same thing as anything else. Looking at the odds, looking at who has a better chance, taking the, external factors and making a decision from it, but you can't do that. So Ben, I think you're right. It's unfortunate, but I think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, people always, especially I've bet on a lot of really odd things in my life, whether it's prop bets or not. And I get people all the time who are just like, how can you bet on that? And it doesn't matter what you bet on it. It's just evaluating, is there an edge? It does not matter if it's a sport, a game, a quiz, a current event. If you're evaluating the line and you think there's value, you should bet on it. That's my philosophy, at least.
I bet on politics for sure.
Yeah, I would if I thought I had an edge. I have no problem.
Politics is like League of Legends to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I follow it very, very closely because I'm fascinated by it. Like I just like it. There's something about a den of scoundrels trying to get ahead of each other, and me seeing what they're doing in order to do it. So about that Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
All right. So let's move on. Anything else from the 2019-2020 bracket that we want to get into? Any other good spots? Josh, any play-in games? Any matchups you're excited to see that we haven't hit on yet? Because I think we have a lot of really good spots that should make for great games.
I mean, I'm greatly pulling for some combination of the final play-in, like the 8th seed winner to be some sort of form of Blazers, Grizzlies, Pelicans, and hopefully we get 2 out of those 3. We might be dropping this stream. Because I think those 3 teams are like going to be really fun to watch. So I'd love to see the Blazers make it. Obviously the Pelicans are going to be like the most fun team that people are going to be rooting for just because of Zion, Brandon Ingram, etc. Grizzlies with Ja, like it's going to have a much different vibe than what we're doing right now because of everything being current. Like it's going to play differently. We're going to watch it differently. I think that's going to be a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I'm really excited. When you and I were doing the rosters and filling out the rosters, and sending them over, it really hit me as to how much I miss the NBA right now. Yeah. Like, it really hit me hard as to how much I wish the NBA was still here, and it's not. It's unfortunate, but Evan, it starts tomorrow, brother. We're starting tomorrow. doing cash prizes in the daily challenge. Fill out the daily challenge for tonight too. If you haven't done that, $200 up top in cash, plus 4 Awesemo Plus subscriptions for this finals game. And another thing, Ben, we went through, and because we're doing double headers tomorrow and Wednesday for the play-in games, we've set up some different questions. So now we're going to have like cross-game player props, like Booker versus Lillard points tomorrow in 2 different games. That's going to be an incredibly fun time.
It's going to be great. Should make it very interesting when you're going to know when the second game tips off, you'll know how many points your guy needs, and that other guy is done. That's an interesting wrinkle that we haven't had. So I'm excited to try out some double headers, see what we can get, and see what people like. FanDuel, of course, going to be running some things. That is a exciting time, and even though it did hit me as well, Laffy, that it's just not here right now. I miss the NBA. I miss all that stuff, and it is unfortunate, of course.
It really is. Dominic, yeah, we'll email you. Congrats, by the way, if you won that daily challenge. You'll hear from us. We make sure to get to everyone in a timely fashion, but no one forgot about you. As long as you got the proper email that you submitted, you'll be hearing from us for sure.
User.
Lillard over Booker all day. I just can't bet. I can't bet against Damian Lillard. Can't do it. He's too good. Like, if you were to take how many guys, here's a fun question. How many players in this league in a one-on-one, big game Blazers versus their team, how many players would you bet over Lillard in points head-to-head prop?
I mean, not many.
Not a lot. Well, I asked that question because as good as Lillard is, you still very rarely hear about him as one of the preeminent scorers in basketball among casuals. You and me and Ben, it's like this guy can go off at any point ever. And we just saw one of the most historic runs of scoring that we've ever seen in the NBA. But he's still not included in that conversation, the handful of players that can rip off 50 points on any given night.
Of everyone, let's see, where's it at?
We'd like a chat too, if you guys have answers, who you would take over Damian Lillard in a single game player versus player points prop.
Where do you think he ranks in points per game or points per 36 minutes this season among qualifiers? So like, you don't have to worry about like Jabroni.
What's the qualifier, Josh?
You had to play like a certain amount of minutes. Basically, it's like
good enough.
Real players. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to name somebody that plays 12 minutes or something.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to see like Raul Neto in
No.
50.
It's exactly what you would think it'd be.
Okay.
Who averaged more than how many? Where do you think Dame ranks? Who do you think is ahead of him? Or if you think he's won?
I think he's top 5.
7th.
Really?
Here's why it's skewed in your head. Damian Lillard plays more minutes than everybody else. So you see his points per game be higher than everybody.
Good point. 38 minutes a game will do that. That's a good point.
It actually brings him down.
7th is still spectacular.
Right. But like his per 36 minutes are his normal rates.
Yeah.
So Giannis is 1. Harden is 2. Luka 3. Okay. Beal 4. Trae Young 5. Kawhi 6th.
Ben, you asked where's Beal?
Yeah, he's just another one who, I was interested to see where he fell. I wouldn't have, if you told me he was like, 3rd or 4th, which is where he is, I wouldn't have been shocked. If you told me he was a little behind Lillard, I wouldn't have been shocked either, just because he, kind of has the same concepts as Lillard in terms of with his team, the way they're constructed.
I'm kind of shocked that Beal was ahead of Lillard.
So I would have taken that he wasn't.
Of those 7 guys, Damian Lillard shoots the least amount of free throws per 36 minutes.
Interesting. And he averages 8 free throws per game almost.
7.4 per 36 is the low number. Giannis is 11.6. Harden 11.6. Luka and Trae Young both north of 9. Yeah.
I think there's also a bit of a recency bias because this shutdown didn't come long after Lillard went on one of the most torrid stretches we've ever seen, right? Yeah. Like, it was easy for me to forget that Beal's averaging 30.5 points per game because Beal on that stretch of games, watching him, it's like it was never going to end. but he had a stretch of really bad games, or at least underwhelming games, for maybe a month leading up to that. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. 7th. So I guess the question is, let's go back to the same question. In a game, I know he's 7, so you could just say those guys. That's fair. But in a 1v1 game, a single game, would you take Beal ahead or Lillard ahead of any of those 6?
In scoring?
Yeah.
For me, it would be Kawhi. I'd take Lillard over him.
I agree.
No, I'll take Kawhi.
Okay. Now, if Kawhi's guarding Lillard, then I'll take Kawhi.
Yeah, you think? No, that's just a product of, it has nothing to do with who I think's a better player or any of that. It's just the way the teams are constructed.
100%.
Lillard has to. Kawhi, if he needs to.
Who would be the best 1v1 player in the league?
LeBron James.
Giannis. LeBron. Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking, to me, it's LeBron until it's not.
I feel like I'd have to take Giannis.
KD, when he's healthy, is probably second.
Yeah.
KD.
I mean, anyone that can get to the rim like Giannis, but also anyone like KD that can both get to the rim and shoot from literally anywhere on the court.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like it might be Kawhi actually. LeBron then Kawhi for me would be my first 2. Yeah. We just watched Kawhi Leonard get his shot from anywhere on the floor to win a title in Toronto.
Wow. All right. A lot of people saying LeBron, Kawhi, KD. All right.
But yeah, to me, it's LeBron until it's official, until it's obvious that it's not.
20 Rick, I'll take Joel F and Embiid against anyone. We're going to get that televised horse game, NBA ESPN. We're going to bet on that. Hell, we're breaking it down on this very show when we get that information. Like, there's no second thought about that. We're doing a damn show on it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have to.
Why wouldn't we?
And I guarantee we can come up with some pretty good reasons to believe that we're right about what's going to happen before not being accurate.
Yes.
So what are you going to do? The people are asking about when these sports are coming back. I got no idea, man.
Not soon.
Try and stay optimistic. Don't get in your head. That's really all you can do.
They're not coming back this month.
No, certainly not coming back this month. Baseball has explored doing spring training facilities and quarantining all players, but the problem is they're worried about the heat that they'll take from the media and the public for siphoning off resources, and PPE and testing and stuff. I say, give me baseball.
No, we shouldn't be doing any of this stuff until it's just normal.
I know. And you're seeing a lot of that where it's like they don't want to take the backlash, right? They don't want to take any of that, even if they think it was feasible. And the margin of error is so small on something like that when you're quarantining all 30 teams.
There's just not enough benefit.
Yeah, you're gambling potentially with people's lives, and when you're a league, that's not a good idea.
For sure. All right, boys, final thoughts. What do we got tonight? The 2012-2013 Heat, 15-16 Warriors. I'll read it off to you right now and let you run with it. Ben, the spread, Warriors, Heat, it's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em, as it should be. I would not feel confident on either side. 127.5 total. Where are we going?
I mean, listen, I picked the Heat to win my bracket. I'm not going to abandon them for no reason. So I'm going to go with the Heat. The total is a little tougher. I'm going to go under. I don't know. I think that the Warriors 3-point shooting will ultimately determine it, how hot they can get. If they go crazy, it's going to go over. If not, I think it goes under. So I think the Heat and the under are kind of correlated.
Josh?
Give me the Warriors. Give me the over. And give me the championship belt.
Give me the cash.
Give me the championship belt. I'm going Heat. I'm going over. the more we've watched these games, the more you find out like the analysis actually matters, and that these games can actually play out similarly to how you expected it. But a lot of it is specific to understanding 2K and not just the teams from when they played. We saw the Warriors really struggle to shoot against Boston, and then come back as quick as anybody. And then we saw them blow out the Spurs, or I'm sorry, blow out the 15-16 Cavs. So it's tough. It's very difficult. I'm going with the Heat in the pick'em. I'm going with the over, and that'll do it for us. The Heat are the 3 seed. The Warriors are the 5 seed.
I thought the Warriors were the 3 seed.
I looked at it in the bracket, and I do not believe that is correct. Warriors are the 5. Heat are the 3. Go into the bracket tab.
No, the Heat are the 4 seed. Or the 5 seed. No, they're the 4 seed. Yeah.
I'm staring. All right, we'll talk about this after the stream.
I mean, were the Bulls the 1 seed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Josh.
So the Heat cannot be what you're saying.
It's true. They're on the wrong side. Well, what we were going to do, we're going to figure it out. Whoever is the lowest seed, of course, is going to be home. Not that that's made a difference at all, but looking at the bracket right now, it should be the other way, I believe. You have the Warriors on the Lakers, 86-87 Lakers side. They were the 2 seed. So, Chad, appreciate you guys pointing that out.
All right. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think home field court advantage has made one bit of difference in any of this, in all seriousness.
I wish that we could just put it at a neutral site. It's stupid that you can't.
That would be fun.
You really can't for anything?
Not that I've seen.
I'll look into that because that would make a lot of sense. There's no reason there should be a home team if we're doing a single game elimination.
Let's see.
I mean, with this bracket, I think we have to go with the home team regardless, just because of, the way we structured it. But that's something we could explore in life.
Doesn't appear that there's any sort of option to do that. Yeah, no. Nothing.
All right. T McB also said one thing. We'll leave it at this. Talking about the playoff thing, he said a major difference would be that any players that get hurt, the injuries would carry forward to the next game. The sim would know, in quotes, the importance of the game in decision making as well. That's interesting. If a player got hurt,
that's not fun, though, is it?
What?
That's not fun, is it?
I don't know. If
it's not going to make more people want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it won't. We'll see. I mean, we can always just turn that off. We're not going to get injuries anyway. We don't have a single injury in any of these games yet. Not one injury in 21 games.
Really crazy.
So, all right. Hey, before you head out, hit that subscribe, hit the like button. Always fun hanging out each morning. We'll be back with you tonight, 7:30 Eastern time for the pregame show, 8 p.m. tip. It's the finals, baby. We're making this happen. And hey, if you haven't gone over to Awesemo.com and checked out the League of Legends product, listen, I know these are difficult times, very difficult times. Even if you're not in a position to become a premium member, at least check out the free strategy guides and get yourself in a position to play. So ultimately, you can join us over there at Awesemo, join our premium Slack chat, join the community, and make it happen. But yeah, there's still free content. Everyone knows it's a difficult time, but the projections, the ownership, the top stacks, they've been awesome. They've been winning people a lot of money early on. I see screenshots flowing in every day to the Awesemo_com handle. So as far as investments go, it's a good one. Awesemo.com. Follow us at JazzRazDFS, _Z DFS, Josh Engleman, LE. I always get that wrong, by the way. I always get, whenever I put your Twitter handle in a name or in anything, I have to search it first.
You're not in the minority.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say there's a lot of ELMANs out there, right?
Yes.
Myself at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D. See you back here tonight, 7:30. Awesemo morning show tomorrow, again, 9:30 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. As always, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you.